Ladies, my brand new washer and dryer arrived yesterday. And so I've spent the whole day doing laundry and loving doing laundry. I've never loved to do laundry like I did yesterday because I have this brand new state of the art washer and dryer. And this is a big thing for me because I have not had a new washer and dryer in 20 years. And I did at one point have a front loader. It was a used front loader and I had it for a short period of time. And I came home one day and there was water stains on my ceiling because my laundry room is on the top floor. And this front loader had leaked. Water came out the front. I don't even know how it happened because the washing machine wasn't on, but the door was open because you need to leave it open. But the water came out the front and then leaked into the ceiling and then the roof of the kitchen or the ceiling of the kitchen. So from that experience there, I had a memory, very traumatic, of like, oh my gosh, I gotta fix my ceiling and there's gonna be mold, all the things. And that's what I pasted onto get a front loader washing machine. Because after that, I just got the top loaders again because I had this experience and it lived inside of me that front loading washing machines will leak and ruin your house for no reason. And I didn't want to risk it. But it's 2024 and I want to get a front loader because they're just more efficient with energy and water and they are easier on the clothes, like just for so many reasons. I wanted to get a front loader. But this thing was stuck in my brain, just this memory of this one time. And because it's on the top floor, I'm thinking, damn, I have to stick with a top loader so that doesn't happen again. And then I had this epiphany because I was dead set on, no, I can't ever get a front loader. But I had this epiphany. I realized that condos are all, because most houses have their laundry room in the basement. So if it leaks, it's no big deal. It's like cement or it's in the garage or it's all good. But I had this epiphany that condos are just a whole bunch of houses stacked on top of each other and they all have front loaders and they don't all leak. They're just like house on top of house on. So there's so many of them because if they leak, they're going to the unit below them. And as soon as I realized that, I'm like, okay, I can change my thoughts about this and let my brain be okay with the fact that this might leak every once in a while, but the odds are it's not going to leak. So I finally allowed my brain to be like, okay, I can do this. I can get a front loader. And so as soon as I talked myself into that, I got super excited about a brand new washer and dryer because mine were like, I'm talking ancient old. And actually, my kids do their own laundry. I just always say, I have to tell people because I love it. I taught them how to do their laundry when they were 7 because I'm telling them these are your clothes and I want you to be responsible for washing your clothes. And when you grow up, it's your responsibility to take care of yourself, including washing your clothes. So I always, at a young age, was like, let's do this. And laundry is so easy to do. Even though they would never fold their laundry or whatever, they would just wear wrinkled shirts, whatever. That's their thing. It didn't bother me. But I get sidetracked. And with this washer and dryer, because it's so old, when they wash their white clothes, because they didn't put them in the dryer or their favorite sweatshirts or whatever, they would hang them to dry. They would have dirt on them because when they pull them out, they drag it across and the inside was a little bit dirty. And I always dry my clothes, so I never had this problem. So if there was any dirt on mine, it would just come off in the dryer. And so they would get frustrated because they'd be like, our clothes are dirtier after we wash them than before. What's the point? So now they, of course, are super excited that we have this new washer and dryer because now their clothes will actually get clean. It was funny. I realized how old these washer and dryers were, or that the washer and dryers that I've always had. Because like I said on the last podcast, I would just buy somebody's old washer and dryer. I just didn't have the money for a new one. And so they were always old, ancient ones. And so when the boys looked at the new one, they were just like, whoa, that looks like they were so impressed with how it looked. They didn't think that a washer and dryer could look like this because they're stacked on top of each other, and they don't have any buttons on them. They just have one dial. It's like super cool. And so you know that it was way too long when my kids that are grown-ups are like, whoa, I've never seen a washer or dryer like that. I didn't know it could look like that. So that made me laugh, and I felt really old all at the same time. But so now I'm in laundry heaven. It's like when you buy a new car, you're happy to drive everybody everywhere. So I'm happy to do all the laundry, wash all the things. It just makes me so happy. And I'm telling you this story because at first there was resistance there because of my past experience. And also in relationship, another story about the washer and dryer is that the night before, it arrived yesterday, the night before, I couldn't sleep. I'm like, why can't I sleep? And I was digging deep into it, and I realized that I was stressing about the delivery because also when I bought my old ones, I got my brother and we took his pickup truck and we went to the person's house and we picked them up, and then we had to take the old ones, and it's 3 flights of stairs. We had to take the old one down, bring them up. It was a lot of work. So I promised myself I'd always pay to have them take away the old one and bring in and install the new ones for sure, worth every penny. And I couldn't sleep the night before because I realized I was stressing about the last time when I had my fridge delivered, because my fridge died in the winter. It was so funny. Luckily it was winter because we had to store like the food, because the fridges, there was a shortage, or I don't know what it was, but excuse me, it took like a couple of weeks for the fridge to be delivered because it was coming from back east and there was transportation problems. So luckily it was winter and we could store our food outside in the snow on the patio. So that worked out well. But nonetheless, when they were delivering the fridge, now the fridge was big and it was a tight fit through the doors, and they only had to go up 1 flight of stairs, but it's tall and you had to turn a corner. It was a gong show. It was a nightmare. These guys were super nice, but they did not understand the math behind and the physics behind the easiest way to do this. And like they scratched the floor, they scratched the walls, the fridge itself was dented. They didn't dent it, but what you have to do is when it gets pulled off the truck, you have to go look at it and then say, yes, it's good, we'll take it. And they didn't do that. I didn't know I was supposed to do that. Excuse me. And so they brought it in and it had dents on it in the front, which it wasn't horrible. And you call and you do like a little negotiation and they give you money off for it. But it was a horrible experience. It took them a long time to get it in and a lot of damage was done. And then they left their screw gun and I couldn't even get a hold of them. I had their screw gun for probably 2 weeks before they came to pick it up. And the whole thing was just a gong show. And it was very, very, I was really stressed. It was highly stressful for me. So the night before I couldn't sleep because I was so stressed about, oh my God, they got to come up like a couple more flights of stairs. This is going to be a nightmare. And I am happy to report that it was the best experience ever. This time the company had a woman who was kind of like the manager who was telling, everything that needs to happen, and the coordinator between me and the movers were so efficient. They were so fast. They were just like zip, zip, zip and up and down. And they were so strong. The way they lifted up and down the stairs is they put a big band, like a big flat rope underneath, and then they put it on their arms, wrap their arms around, and then they lift it like that. And I was so impressed at how freaking awesome they were at their job. They were so good. It was actually a pleasure. And the best part was they all spoke Spanish. And I was talking to them in Spanish and they understood what I was saying and I understood what they were saying. It was like I was actually having a conversation in Spanish, because usually, like if you listen to the podcast, you know that I've been practicing my Spanish, but the words are in my brain. But when I go to get them out of my brain, it takes a while. And also when people speak, they speak really quickly, so it's hard to pick the words out. So when I could actually have a conversation, I was like, oh my gosh, it's working. I got so excited. And it was awesome because they were all from different Spanish-speaking countries. So they all had different kind of accents. And it was so cool. Like the gentleman from Mexico was easier for me to understand than the guy from Colombia, just because it's a different kind of accent. And I found he spoke a little bit slower, so it was easier for me to understand. Anyway, that alone made the experience awesome. But the woman was there to just be the go-between and make sure that everything was fine before it got put in and the house was good after. And then they dialed it up and started running it. And she's like, look, everything's working. Are you happy? It was just so good. So for a situation that I find stressful, that company made it so amazing. It was a game changer. And it's interesting because the reason I'm telling you this story is because I was stressing about the last time my fridge was delivered. So I was taking that experience and pasting it on this one that hasn't even happened yet. I don't know what's going to happen. Our brains are designed to run on predictability. We're trying to predict what's happening. And how do we predict what's happening? We used our past as a reference. Oh, something's being delivered. Oh, it's going to be a gong show. It's going to be a nightmare. So that's how our brain decides stuff. And so I was running on this situation, like predicting what was going to happen because of my past experience. So I was creating a problem that didn't even exist. And so I couldn't sleep. And I was using my imagination against myself. We do that all the time. We have really good imaginations and we use it against ourselves. And that's what causes stressful situations like this. So it's fascinating. The reason I'm telling you this is because it applies to midlife. Remember, our brains are designed to do 3 things. They're designed to avoid pain, seek pleasure, and conserve energy. All of this is in an overall effort to keep us alive, right? Our brain is just like sheer survival. So how can I not get hurt? How can I make it feel good? And then expend as little energy as possible. And one of the ways it does that really, really well is by predicting from past experiences. And that's how people get stuck in loops. That's how people can't get over things that happened in the past, or they can't let go of it because their brain just keeps calling it up. Hey, don't do that. That could be dangerous because remember last time when you did something like that, this happened. Our brains have 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day, our subconscious. Our conscious brain can only focus on 7 things at once, give or take 2, depending on the situation. So our conscious brain is very limited on what it can focus on, but our subconscious brain, our unconscious brain, it's like the thoughts are just firing boom, 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 like all over the place. And that's what runs the show. And that just means it's the part that we're not aware of that's doing all the work. That's how we run on autopilot. That's how patterns repeat themselves. That's how something that happened a long, long time ago still freaks us out today, even though it happened in the past a long, long time ago. The only way it can freak us out today, the only way it can show up in our present is if we bring it here. And we bring it here by recalling it and thinking about it again. Because it's in the past. It's in the past. It's happened. It's done. But we give it life. We bring it back to life by thinking about it again and again and again. So that's up to us to change that pattern or that habit of what we do. We don't have to use our past as a precursor to what's going to happen. Our memories change every time we recall them. This is like a really cool thing about memories is like, it's like say you open up a Word document, and then you have all these words, and then you type something else in, and then you save it, and then the next time you call that document up, now it's that latest version. That's what a memory does too. So I have this memory of something that happened when I was little, and I call it up. Like maybe it's a memory of a fun time I went to the beach with my family, and I'm remembering it. And then I don't think about it again. But when I remembered it this time, I'm remembering it different than the last time I remembered it. It's impossible to remember it exactly the way it happened. And then every time I remember it, it's a little bit different and a little bit different. So you could see that if I've remembered it 100 times, it's going to be way different than the original time, because each time I recall it and remember it, it's a little bit different. That's how it gets saved. And then when I call that up, it's the newest version that I call up, the most recent one that has those changes to it. It's mind blowing when you think about that's how our memories work, is every time it's changed just a little bit. So from the experience that I had with the fridge being delivered, every time I thought about that, which would probably be any time I think about having anything delivered, or like it's not, I don't think about it a lot, but every time I called it back, it'd be different. I would expand on it in a different way and then save it like that. And then the next time I call it, that's the memory that I'm recalling. So where are you doing this in midlife? What past do you keep alive in your present by recalling it all the time? Do you see what I'm saying? This is so powerful when you think about this. Like, what do you want to create instead? So instead of, because in midlife, it's an opportunity for us to totally reinvent ourselves. Totally and completely. But what happens usually is we take what's happening next, who we're going to be next, based on all the past that's happened. But if we wanted to have a really rich, fulfilling, exciting, amazing midlife, we want to stop doing that. And we want to start creating from this point here. From here, what do I want to create? Who do I want to be in this moment? Not who was I last week or for the last 20 years or whatever that is. I want to be conscious of what do I want to create? What do I consciously want to create? And then you want to become that person today in this moment. You literally can change your life in the snap of a finger, in the snap of your fingers. But the interesting thing is that you have to be aware and conscious to do it. And most people don't. We're just running on autopilot. So in order to do this, in order to become the person that you want to be today in this moment, is you got to assume the state of the wish fulfilled. So you got to, what would it be like to be that person already? If I was this person, like whatever it is, getting the new job or traveling the world, or start doing a new skill, creating a new skill, learning a new skill. If I was already that person, how would I feel? And you physically feel it in your body. Remember, thoughts are the language of your brain and feelings are the language of your body, and they work synergistically together. So I want to feel in my physical body, what would it feel like to be the person that speaks Spanish? What would it feel like to be the person that is really, really good at tennis? What would it feel like to be the person that lives in Spain? What would it feel like? And then I call that up and I'm like, oh, and the more detailed I get, the more vivid the picture is in my brain, the more powerful that feeling is. And the easier it is for the universe to connect that, because like attracts like. So when I'm feeling like I've already achieved that, so when I have that, I feel proud and I feel confident and I feel happy and excited about every day. So if I live in that energy now before I've even created that for myself, boom, the universe sends it to you really quick, because like attracts like. So you're vibrating at that level. But the same happens for the other. If you're vibrating at, woe is me, the world is a hard place, only bad things happen, that's a level 2. And guess what you attract? More of that. So the more often you can stay at that energy of what you want to become. Remember, assuming the state of the wish fulfilled. So being of the energy of already being that person, use your imagination for you. Your imagination is so creative. And this is where you start to imagine what it would feel like. And you feel it in every fiber, every cell of your body. And then that will be attracted to you. The more you feel that way, the more you practice that, the quicker you will achieve these things in your life or become this person. And so because we're in midlife, this is the time. We want to create it right now at the beginning of midlife so we can be that person for our whole entire midlife, rest of our life. It just takes practice. But if you just do these simple steps, I promise you, it works like gold. I promise you, this is the easiest, quickest way to change your life, to create a life that you want. And it will happen in the blink of an eye. The more you practice it, the quicker it happens. This is possible for you too. So let me leave you with it. Like, it is so mind-blowing when you think you have this power. I just think most women haven't been told this. You have the power to change your life in the snap of your fingers. It's that easy if you put your intention and your energy towards it. Look at all the things you've created in your life. You created human beings. If you can do that, you can do this. This is way easier than creating a human and creating a good person in life. This is way easier than that. So let me leave you with this. You are the answer. The better you get at managing your mind, the quicker your life will change. And then anything is possible. Thank you for listening. Always, always, always love yourself first and have an amazing day.